video and above where you submit these notes. So here's the first page. I just planned for this week for us to be reviewing. I might do a little bit of chapter 15 that I asked you to read for today, next class, because I want to see where we are, because I want to make sure we get through this entire document through Wednesday's class. And this is the final. Now, you won't get all of these questions. You'll get some of these questions, but you don't know which ones you will or you won't. But make sure you know everything in this document here. So here is perfect competition right here and how I'm going to ask the question. And so the thing you need to know walking into this beyond like the dynamics of how this works are the formulas that go along with this. So remember, the first thing we do is we've got the shutdown decision. So remember, we need if the price is greater than or equal to what? Keep the lights on, pay the workers. That's very good. Greater than or equal to average variable costs. So if it's that, then we go to number 2. If not, what is the quantity equal? Yeah, 0. Remember, this is what we call a shutdown decision. And then you need to know that where MR, marginal revenue, is closest to, equal or greater than marginal cost, that's where we find our profit maximizing quantity or a loss minimizing quantity. Then we need to know that total revenue is price times quantity. And that either total cost is given to you here or you calculate it, and total cost is quantity times ATC. And then, whoops, 3 twice, okay. And then profit or loss is total revenue minus total cost. So with that, and then I will up here, I think I'm going to give you the formula up here that this plus this equals that. And then that is the change in total cost. And this is quantity times ATC. So mark that there. I'll get, if it's not on the test, remind me and I'll just write it up on the board for you. And so, like I said, what I want to do this week is to just get through this whole package. So let's start getting through. So work together, ask each other questions, then I'll come through and review this in a little while. Those online, press pause and test yourself. So note what I did here. Hopefully you're already way ahead of me. For total costs, we're just multiplying the quantity, the output times ATC to get these figures here. Then because average fixed and average variable add up to average total, whenever we have a missing column, we simply subtract the known from what we know the sum of these two are to get the unknown here. Same with down here, subtract the known from the sum here to put this unknown there. And now lastly, this is the one people mostly have trouble with, or the one that if you're going to have trouble, you have trouble with. And this is simply the change in total cost. So between 300 and 400, we have 100. And once we have all of this, then we can go through and then start using this formula here. And remember, so remember in this industry, for each firm, the price is the demand curve and it is the, what else? Marginal revenue. Yeah, so remember, this is the price. First, you're checking whether or not it's greater than ABC. And then you, if it is, you're going on and checking where this price or marginal revenue best fit your marginal costs. Again, those online, press pause and work through these questions. Let me do this first one. So note on, as I said, notice on 3, 4, and 5, it says graph and label demand, marginal revenue, price, when the price is 73. And if you get stuck at this point, remember there are things that help you in this test that's on the test. So notice right here on the test, you'll have this. You'll see price, marginal revenue, demand, right? And this is what? What does this represent right here? Perfectly elastic demand. Perfect competition, industry or firm. This is the firm. Remember, this is the industry right here. So you've got something, hopefully, to jog your memory over here that you do that for each one of these. And doing P1, 2, and 3 just in order is fine. You could do P3, P4, P5, doesn't matter to me. Then, then let's follow our instructions here. So this you've got to memorize. So if you haven't flashcarded stuff before, maybe flashcard this or do whatever you do to memorize things. So first is this price greater than or equal to ABC. And we see in 2 instances, greater than that, equal to that. So we're good there. It's not the shutdown decision. And so now we have to remember this price is also marginal revenue. And so we find its best fit in this column with marginal costs. And you can look to this here to give you an idea as well, right? So here's another indication. Remember, as I've said, whenever marginal revenue hits, and we need to label this marginal cost, wherever it hits, if it hits twice, it needs to be the largest amount. And then notice right here, it's hitting right here between 3 and 4. So you're always going to go to where at least marginal revenue is exceeding marginal cost. So you can see it's 3 here. And you can also see the best fit is 60. So 3 here. You see that 2 different ways visually, right? Here you can tell that's the best fit where marginal, it's the closest to marginal cost, the greatest quantity, and marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost. Or you can see it right here where it's the best fit. So our quantity is 3. And then we do 3 times 73 minus the cost at that level, which is 510. Is 219 minus 510 is negative 291. So we know they're making a loss. How many firms are enduring that loss? All of them. So what's going to happen to the market supply? Supply is going to decrease, and a down arrow totally works for me. And then what's going to happen to the price? Going to go up. What's it going to go up to? Where all firms are just making a normal profit. Remember, is quantity of 0. Yeah. Not at all. Oh, it doesn't. So it doesn't matter. I don't have to choose anything. I just have to make sure this condition has been met. But no, but either or doesn't matter. It just, you need to find a place. Does it exist a place where this price, hello, right here, is greater than any of these? So be careful. And the reason why I'm kind of stopping here is because remember, you don't just pick one and move on. You pick one, you first determine, is it greater than any of these? And then you move on to step 2. So, right, so you have, if there was a 73 right here, is there? Yeah, you might be tempted to pick a quantity of 4, but notice that's not what this is a yes or no question. Is price greater to or equal than ABC? Yes, now we move to now equalize that price, which is marginal revenue, to marginal cost, and that brings us to a quantity of 3. Do you see my point I'm making? That you don't want to pick one because then you might think that that's the right quantity. It's not. You're just determining whether or not they should stay in business. Okay. Hayden? It's independent on its own. It's a binary decision, yes or no. And if it's yes, you move on to equalize marginal revenue and marginal cost. If it's no, your quantity is 0. So work through the rest right here. I'll come back and review. Again, press pause, work through the rest of these questions on your own. To test you. So note here, and I'm just saying this again for my online class. Sometimes these are going to be either no change or not applicable. So at 140, let's go through. At 140, is it greater than ABC? The answer is yes. Number 2, here is our marginal revenue, right? It's telling us that the price is that. So our marginal revenue, where's the best fit? Obviously, it's right there. Joey, is that obvious to you? Yeah. And another way of looking at it, again, there's our second price at 140. There is a really clear intersection point right there at 6. Yeah. Wait, hold on, let's get there. So we know our quantity is 6. And then so total revenue minus total cost. So total revenue is 6 times 140. subtracting our total costs, which are 840. And we do that math, then we get a 0, right? And so the profit is 0. We need to say here that this is a normal profit. Now, remember, they're getting the entrepreneur, the farmer, whatever, is getting exactly what he or she believes they deserve, but there's no incentive to join or leave the industry. And so these are no change, no change. Good? That was your question, I bet. Was about what's gonna happen to these two. Yeah, this normal profit is just enough to get by, not enough to leave, but not enough to run in and join the industry. All right, so keep working on these. Am I good to go through 5 and 6? Should I wait a minute? Should I wait a minute or am I good? Okay, please go. All right. So, hey, guys, gentlemen, just so everyone can hear. Sorry, just so everyone can hear. I know I was part of it earlier. So here, 174, and again, notice we've got a place to look here, right? It looks like it might be 7, right? Where that third price fits marginal cost. Let's confirm it. We know for certain that because this meet the shutdown decision, that this is going to meet the shutdown decision. So now we're looking at this as marginal revenue and finding where it best fits marginal cost. And we find that place here. No, right? Because here our marginal costs are exceeding our marginal revenue. So we go back. Don't get lost in the fact that there's a big jump in here. We just have to know that this is greater than this. So we go back to 6. So the quantity is the same quantity as the previous one. And then 6 times 174 minus 840 is. So you'll have different data on your test. So there'll be different prices, maybe different costs. So make sure you know these processes that we're getting these answers. So it's plus 204. So it's a profit. What kind of profit is that? Economic profit. And so in that case, that attracts people to the industry. So supply is going to increase and the quantity, and that, sorry, supply is going to increase and the price is going to decrease. To go back to this normal profit level. 6, again, teachers call these distractors, like when you have multiple choice questions, and the ones that aren't right, we call them distractors. So these are distractors because you don't know, well, is this going to meet the shutdown decision? So I don't want to give away the question that this doesn't meet the shutdown decision, but no, P greater than ABC. No, that price is not greater than any of these average variable costs. So this firm produces 0. And this is NA, not applicable. And so these questions here relate to just kind of this whole market right here. All of these processes, how many firms have gone through this? Did you leave the binder? Okay, cool. All of them. So all the firms go through these processes because they all have the same costs. How many firms are there in this industry? I'd say thousands, if not tens of thousands. And do they have any control over the price, each firm? Oh, because farming for rice, we got thousands of them. Miners for gold, we got tens of thousands of them or hundreds of thousands. In every one of these industries, so jumping down here, what are the 3 types of industries? Ag, mining, drilling. One of the market characteristics for perfect competition is that there's huge numbers of both buyers and sellers. And so there are thousands and if not tens of thousands of each of these. Does that make sense, Nate? Yeah. And so no, they don't, they have no control over the price they charge. Remember, that's determined by the industry. And what's that phrase that I used when we looked at the Wall Street Journal and looked at the price? Is it for the United States? Is it for Butte County, or is it for the world? So it's the world. Yeah, very nice. World Marketplace. Yeah. Yes, that is the shutdown decision. Yeah. And so let's do something related now.